Hello, welcome to MashUp TV. I am one of your hosts, Jerry.
And I am Dr. Bim, or Brian, or Bim, or whichever you want to call me. Amen.
Amen. Praise the Lord. So glad to see you back. We're happy to be back here, and today we have a very exciting topic. We are talking about polyamory. And for people who don't know what polyamory is a type of sexuality. It is about people who believe that they are able to love more than one person at a time. It's the practice of loving multiple people and being in relationships with romantic relationships with more than one person at a time. So we're really excited to get into this topic today. This is a topic that is very near to my heart for most of you people who know me. It's going to be interesting. Brian, how do you feel about today's topic?
Listen, I just want to let everybody know that Jerry and I, we always be talking about so many different things each and every day. And this has been one topic that we have probably talked about for well over a year or so. I'm representing the monogamous crew tonight. And so for
Okay.
those who have a lot of questions like I do, we're going to get down to the bottom of it, okay?
Yes, and I am representing the polyamorous crew tonight. And honestly, I've lost friends over this, but we're going to talk about that. And then I'm really excited because we are having one of our favorite people, health educator extraordinaire, bicycle instructor, Miss Jarissa Greenard. And we are so excited to bring her on today. And she's going to be talking about this topic with us from personal experience also, and just as a health educator. So I'm really excited to have her and to help me answer some of these questions that Brian going to throw at us.
Let's
Uh,
get it.
but before we get in it, we got to pay a couple bills. And we want to talk about some of our exciting programs that we have going on today. Well, right now. One of the first ones that we're going to talk about is our Mindful Mashup program. If
Yes.
you know anyone who is trying to stop any addictive behaviors, if they are trying to stop smoking, if you need therapy, check out our Mindful Mashup program. It's based on a group therapy and individual therapy model. We merge the two together and you get free therapy for 6 months. And to kind of talk a little bit more about that, I'm going to show our commercial.
Join us on a journey of self discovery, growth, and empowerment. Don't wait. Seize the opportunity to transform your life today with the Mindful Mashup Transformation Cohort Program. Enroll now at www.mashupnation.org/transformation.
Listen, no excuses not to get your free therapy. Come on.
Get your free
We
therapy.
put the bill. You just sign up.
Yes. And we are about to start their program in a couple weeks. So, we just got a couple more weeks to time for people to sign up and join the cohort. So if you're interested, please go on our website, www.mashupnation.org/transformation. And you can find out more about the program and sign up. All right, Brian, you want to tell us about our next program?
Yes, look, we have an exciting. If it will, we have a few things happening. So on September the 5th,
Yeah.
September 5th, we're having an event calling "Reclaiming Our Voice." This is event. It's a transformative event that's going to be in a collaboration with Vive Healthcare. Also, Jarissa, who is joining us tonight, will be a part of that, and we're going to be having some dinner and conversations, really trying to encourage our people about understanding why the importance of being involved in research, making our voice heard in research. And that actually brings me, to my next point. We have had a partnership with the All of Us Research Program. It is a groundbreaking program that we're trying to get 1 million people across the globe to participate and say, yes, I will offer up my health data so I can contribute to us understanding, what medications work for us best. But you know what? We got a commercial that can talk a little bit better than I can. Jerry, go ahead and roll it.
Can you expound more on the biospecimen collection process, and how do I know that when you guys take my blood or my union, that you're not going to make evil clones of me. I just watched Who Cloned Tyrone.
Yeah.
I saw what happened there. I
Right.
don't want that to happen to me, that I get murdered and then some evil person is coming back and
Right,
taking my place with my
right.
family.
No, so your information security is legitimate concerns, right? Especially in the year 2024, everyone's concerned with that for good reason. So all this research program has certificates of confidentiality from the U.S. government. They use all the best practices for information security. When your data is collected, it is de-identified before it is processed. When a researcher looks at this data pool of information, they're never going to see your name, phone number, social security number. They're going to see a de-identified donor identification number. All of the appropriate and best practices, those measures are being put in place to keep participant information secure.
So you may be asking, why should I join this program? Okay, you told me it's safe, but why should I join this program? It is to help the progress of precision medicine. All medicines don't work for all people. This is trying to build the biggest health research database in America, and they're trying to fill it with diverse participants so that we can find out what medicines don't work for Black people, what things are less likely to work for people with your body type, so we can know more about what happens to people if you have a certain predisposition to diabetes, or if you have HIV, how your body may change because of the medicine. The only way that they can find out with that if people volunteer to health data. So if you want to figure out how to be more healthy, you want better medicine, join the program. It's free. You get some free genetic results. We're going to be doing an unboxing of me and Brian's genetic results later on next month, so they'll be interesting to see. So join the program and maybe you'll find out some cool stuff with us. So yes, I wanted to plug one more thing. We just had a really great event this past weekend. We had our Timeless Jewels game night. And if you don't know anything about Timeless Jewels is our social group for our LGBTQ crowd that is 50 and up. I'm 30. I mean, in my 30s, I'm not 30 anymore. I'm 35. Anyway, but I know a lot of times I don't want to be around college age kids and stuff. And some of my friends 50 and plus, they don't want to be hanging out with me sometimes because they say I got too much energy or I be doing too much. They ain't trying to hear Sexy Wed and all that stuff. So we have created a special group for this crowd, and we do programming for them each month. This past Saturday, we just had a game night. It was a lot of fun. They had a good time. We had free food. It was BYOB. It was a good time. And we're having another event for our Timeless Jewels crowd next month. What day is that, Brian?
It's going to be on September the 21st.
Yes. And this is really fun because it is the first of our Dining Dialogue series. And Dining Dialogues is all about food and sex. And we're starting with our 50 and up crowd talking about timeless sex.
Ooh.
So what does it mean to have a good and healthy sex life over the age of 50? I know I'm kind of interested to kind of figure out, what it is myself. So, I may be there with my bread and trying to learn a little something because
mine at 39 is dwindling already. So
that's by choice, though, friend.
You're right.
We gonna have to actually, now that we having this conversation, we're gonna have a choice about abstinence too. We need to talk about that too. I'm adding that to the schedule.
Please, I'm happy to share my journey. But listen, let's go ahead and get into this poly conversation. I'm ready for this.
Yes, we're gonna bring on Jarissa. And we're so excited. Come on, Jarissa.
Hello. Thank you so much, MashUp fam, for having me on today.
We're so excited.
Listen, I'm excited.
Okay, listen, we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Listen, we're not gonna get in. You ain't got to share none of your personal business. We just want to just understand poly just in general. Coming from the monogamous person over here, I always have a lot of questions, and I'm sure a lot of people do. So let's just get into it.
So, well, first let's give Jarissa a chance to introduce herself and tell a little bit about herself for people who don't know. I know everybody knows Jarissa because she's,
there you go.
Y'all are so funny.
A celebrity.
in, Nashville, Tennessee, just doing the
Yeah.
thing. Everybody know Jarissa, but for those who don't know who you are, please give us a slight overview of your awesomeness.
Y'all are really kind. I am not a celebrity at all. I'm just a local black queer woman just trying to help my community. Sometimes that shows up in me working as a community educator for the Vanderbilt HIV vaccine program. Sometimes that looks like me being your workout partner that you need. So whether you want to take a cycling class or go for a walk or a hike, I'm definitely the bestie that you're like, hey, if I want to get out, get active, and just move my body a little bit, just so that I can kind of pour back into myself and give it what it needs by for the beautiful movement of body, then I'm the person to call on. But other than that, that's me. My pronouns are she, hers, and yeah, that's my short little bio. Oh, and I always end with like, be human, be kind, because we're all going through this human experience, and I think that we all deserve to extend ourselves grace throughout the way. So as we're being human, feeling all the feels, all the emotions, not trying to suppress any of that, and just taking this journey through life together.
I love it. Somebody's in the comments said, "Hey, girl, hey."
Hey!
All right, shout out to the South Paul. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I want to just start off here. So I was talking to Jerry and Jarissa as we were prepping for this meeting, and I was thinking about, when you come out as, gay, you have a coming out story. And so I was just curious if you all had like a poly story. And I asked that because, we grew up in a society that, kind of teaches monogamy. And so, like, at whatever level you want to tell your story, like, what is your poly coming out story? Let's start with Jarissa, our special guest, and Jordan to chime in.
It's so funny you said that, Brian, because as I'm thinking about that, I don't feel like I have like a coming out per se. I never really feel led to make an announcement by it. I think something that comes up for me is whenever I am just in normal conversation, if someone's just like, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend? And I'll just say, oh, well, I'm hanging out with my partners, or we're planning on going vacation this summer. And it just kind of flows naturally. I never really felt the pressure or the need to say, like, hey, I'm queer and I'm poly and I have these partners and life is amazing. I guess I kind of live in a way where I really just kind of not secretive about that joy, but just like I'm a little private about it. Like I like to respect the privacy of my partners and the people that I'm involved with. And also it's just I kind of treat it normal, like just like anyone else who may be in a relationship.
No, that's a good point. So you basically you normalize it, and if it comes up, it
Yeah.
comes up. I love that, Jerry. What about you? Do you have a poly coming out story?
I think like there's like two parts to it. I think there's like kind of like the when I first realized I may be poly, and then like kind of when I like started feeling more comfortable with like telling people, and like kind of like, oh yeah, that's the word, and like I'm gonna start telling people. So like I was in a long distance relationship, and I was just like, hey, because we're in a long distance relationship, this needs to be open. And that's I think that's how a lot of people kind of started off, like they may have to have an open situation for one reason or another. Because for a lot of people, the idea of having sex with only one person is not does not work, or it doesn't make sense for them for one reason or another. But I was in that situation because I was in a very long distance relationship, and I end up talking one of my sexual partners. I end up developing feelings for them, and I was like, what am I doing? I feel like I'm in love with two people at the same time. And that was kind of like my first time that I was like, what is going on with my heart? And kind of later on, especially like right around the pandemic, I started doing more research around polyamory, and like kind of really kind of figure out what that meant, read some books, and just like, oh, I think this makes sense for me. And I was also talking to someone who had like very similar ideas, and we were able to support each other in that journey and figure out what that meant for us. And I started telling my friends, and people started looking at me weird. So yeah, it was fun.
I love that you were so curious about what is this feeling that I'm going through, and how do I make sense of it? How do I give it language? How can I be like honest with myself and my
Yeah,
partners that I want to engage with? Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful things about being poly.
yeah. I feel like it's really just being honest about like,
Yeah,
hey, like it requires a lot of honesty. It requires a lot of
yeah,
communication. It requires vulnerability. It's not easy, and it's not only just some people think like being poly is about having like a giant orgy. It is not.
yeah. I'm
What
glad
is
you
it?
said that though, because it's true. Or sometimes people think that it's just a phase. I've
Mm,
gone through that conversation with someone before where I was out on a date and I really enjoyed their company, and I could tell that they liked me. I liked them. And also they expressed some of their hesitation around me continuing, seeing the partners that I was involved with at the time, and kind of them hoping that that would come to an end now that we were kind of forming a strong connection. And I just had to be honest and say, like, hey, this is not a phase for me. This is
mm,
who I am at my core. And, it may change. And right now, I can confidently say that that's not changing now. And that means that I don't want to stop seeing the people that I currently see. I, I see them as valuable human beings. They are not just people I want to discard. Like, I have close and strong relationships with them. And also, I can want to have a relationship with you as well. So it's really about what are some negotiations or what are some hard boundaries. And I need to respect that if a person is not willing to engage in a relationship with me because of that, I'm respectful of that. I'm like, okay, you know what? We can't be in a romantic relationship, but we might be able to be friends. But just know that if I decide to be monogamous, it's totally on me, not because someone feels like I'm going through a phase.
And that's like
wow.
two things I want to say. I know, Brian, you got some questions,
No,
but
no, this is good. Y'all keep going. I'm learning. Yeah.
so like one of the things I think is like also like a misconception, like just because I identify as poly, and you could be a poly person in a currently like single phase or monogamous relationship for now. Like I may go through a phase where I'm only dating one person and I'm focusing on one person. And that may last for whenever it lasts until something else happens. It just really kind of depends, and it doesn't mean that I'm no longer poly just because I'm dating one person. That's just this is who has captured my attention and my time and who I'm focusing on. But I still remain a person who's capable of having loving and romantic relationships with several people, and we have to respect people's boundaries. And if you're engaging with me, you have to understand who I am, and we may talk and say like, we have boundaries. Okay, so, if you engage with someone else, this is, what my rules are. I would like for you not to do, or, this is how I would like for you to include me. I don't want to see them. I would rather you not talk to someone not in our, locale, if need be, or such, people have different rules around how they practice it. But,
Mhm.
uh, it's just, there's so many different configurations.
No, I love this. I hear respecting boundaries, and also what you all didn't was said was really respecting choice,
Mm,
Yeah.
because every individual in life has their own power to make the choices for their life. So today, if you want to be poly today, even if you made the choice to be monogamous tomorrow, that is still your choice, and people have to respect that. I think it was an interesting conversation because like one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about, which I think we're in the spirit of it, but I think there people feel like there's this movement of poly trying to X out monogamous, and I think one of the pre-conversations that you all kind of helped me understand, which I want y'all to talk about more, is that supporting poly does not mean rejecting monogamy. Can you all talk a little bit more about that? So people like me who think that like there's this I don't know agenda, just poly agenda.
Right, right. That there's a poly agenda. Right. We're out there trying to convert everyone to being poly. Definitely not the case. I love that. And that's something that I often say. I say, just because I'm pro poly doesn't mean I'm anti monogamy. I have friends who are in monogamous relationships that are beautiful, fruitful. It's a system that works for them and meets their needs. And I think it wholeheartedly works. I believe in monogamy just as much as I believe in polyamory. And I just feel like it's just really about people finding what works best for them. And that's just kind of something that I've noticed. I noticed that I have different needs, and those needs can be met through a variety of relationships. I don't feel pressured to kind of put those expectations all on one person, or I just have the ability to connect with several different people in just a very unique way. And so it's like once I meet someone, I see their value, I see their light, and I just want to be a part of that. I want to share that experience. And so I'm curious to hear what Jerry might
You
think
know, Jerry,
about
Jerry,
that.
are you on a you got an agenda to kill monogamy? What's going on?
Definitely not. Definitely not. It's like, because here's the thing, like, if you are not a polyamorous person, if you don't really have that capacity, if and some people say, I get too jealous, that's fine. That's cute. I'm not trying to converse you to become a part of my harem, like people may think, or whatever you want to call it. And like that is not like we're not trying to convert people. I think really I think it's the same thing as like people saying, the queer agenda.
Mm,
They're saying like more people are becoming queer and they think that you're trying to change everybody, make them gay. What we're trying to do is by discussing this, being more open about the way that we live, is encourage people to be honest about the way they
mm,
live and the way that they want to love. There's plenty of people who effectively are in open relationships but are not talking about it. There's
Mm,
plenty of people who are holding romantic love and romantic feelings for two people at the time, or multiple people, but feel like they can't be honest about it, don't feel like it's an option for them because they've been taught that they can only love in one way.
mm,
It's like the same thing of like, trying to put hetero or normative standards on everything. I think really kind of the thing about like learning and talking about polyamory is just to show people that there's other ways to love people. There's so many different configurations, and we don't have to abide by these certain rules. And if it's for you, then it's for you, and if it's not, it's okay.
well, you know what? You all are go no
Can
go
I just
Jerry.
say
Please,
like
please
one
go.
thing?
Go.
I love when Jerry said, I can't do, I mean, not saying that this is coming from Jerry, but hearing the argument that, I can never do polyamory. I would get too jealous. That's not to say that us polyamory folk do not get jealous. I
Talk about it.
totally get jealous. I talk my way through that. And I would even encourage folks to really kind of take a deep dive with their feelings, because really I see jealousy as kind of a tool or a key indicator of it illuminating desires within myself that I feel like I don't currently have. And so instead of kind of looking at it as like a negative emotion, just really just see it for what it is. It's jealousy, and what is underneath that jealousy? What is that desire that I hope to like fulfill within myself? And what are some ways that I can start making steps towards being liberated, being free? What does my freeness look like in my relationships? And how can and be completely transparent about that when you're approaching people about what it is that you want, being very clear about, this is what I do want in a relationship, this is what I don't. Sometimes that means that people do want to have a romantic relationship, but maybe they don't want to be sexually active. Maybe they gain something else. Maybe there's a deeper level of intimacy that is achieved with a person that they have a connection with. Maybe I want to build wealth with someone. Maybe I want to kind of build a future for myself in a different way that talks about combining our finances. Maybe I want a nesting partner where I'm living with them and I'm seeing a day-to-day a relationship with them. So to Jerry's point, it really looks very different based off of what people need. And when you become really clear about the things that you need and vocal, I mean, the people that will gravitate you will find you. It's
Yeah,
just all about what it is you're being honest about that you truly want and desire at the end of the day.
yeah, and like because like like you said, jealousy is a thing that you can learn from. It's
Mhm.
like, let's say, okay, so like this has triggered me. Like, instead of avoiding this trigger, let me understand what this is and understand what is making me jealous. Because different things can make different people jealous. I may get jealous because you're spending a lot of time with another person. And it's
Yeah.
not, I don't care that y'all may have a sexual relationship, but it's just that quality time. Like you used to spend quality time with me, and now you're not spending time with me. Or, you won't eat my spaghetti, but you eat that spaghetti. Like, why you don't like my cooking? And I'm a person, like, I love to cook. If you don't eat my food, that's an issue for me. Like, maybe we're not supposed to be together. Like, I don't know.
Not
My
maybe we're not supposed to be together.
So I got a quick question, just for clarification purposes, and maybe there's other who is just a little confused, and maybe it's a different term for this. But for a poly relationship, um, does that always mean that the multiple people are in the relationship together, or is that like I can be with different people at the same time, but that don't mean that all of us are connected?
Right. I think the term that goes along with that is being solo poly, if I'm not mistaken. So that speaks to the idea that like I would be my own partner. So I would be my own priority. And also I have these extended relationships. So I could be in a relationship with a married couple, or I could be in a relationship with a kink partner, or I can be in a relationship with someone else where I have a platonic relationship with them. And so there is a version of that. And also they're just different types of polyamory. I think the concept or the language around kind of being like multiple people together, kind of in like a family format. I think it's called kitchen table polyamory, which is very interesting. Those are the kinds of individuals who they have dinner together, they spend holidays together. Like it really is a family like structure, if you will. And then there are some types of dynamics where maybe it's not as family oriented, but you're still like acquaintances. You get to meet like other partners of people that you were partnered with, but maybe y'all don't spend like those birthdays or Thanksgivings together. But it's still, again, it has to work in a way that everyone is comfortable with. So, to answer your question, Brian, yes, there is a form of that, and also that's not the only way. Like there are many different options that people can gravitate towards.
Yeah, I mean, that's like polyamory just is a description for like people who love multiple people at the same time, and that can look so many different ways. Like Jarissa said, like you could be in a triad, or you could be a person in, a committed primary relationship with just you and another partner, and y'all both can have outside relationships outside of that primary relationship. A lot of people don't like to do hierarchy to relationships. So, it doesn't matter whether or not, like, I've been dating this person for 4 years. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're more important than the person that I've been dating for 6 months. And none of them may be nesting partners, or the person that you may live with may be someone that you don't have a sexual relationship with at all. So it's very interesting. It can show itself in so many different ways, and you can change the way that you do it. So,
Yeah. Well, listen, I know we kind of coming up on our 30 minutes, but I was thinking through some things that, like, if I did decide that I wanted to be probably like, what would be the benefit for me, and like living by myself and the way these bills piling up, maybe probably ain't so bad. But see, I heard y'all kind of mention, I'm thinking of which I mean by nesting, kind of living together and cohabitating together and working together. Three more people, let's split that bill three ways. I love that. But are there any other like top benefits that y'all would say like that, being in a poly situation, you know, adds to your life?
I think I'm trying to think of a benefit. I mean, honestly, it's just being my true authentic self. It kind of reminds me of when I really started stepping into my queerness. It's really accepting, like really affirming of myself that this is kind of the way that I choose to love, and I'm very transparent about it, and I'm happy to engage in those relationships. And it may not be the quote unquote traditional type of relationship, and also it's something that works for me. It's a good fit for me. And so if I'm honest about it, I'm open about it, and I find people who gravitate towards me and are interested in having that polyamory dynamic, I don't know, it just feels freeing. It feels freeing to find people who love you and don't necessarily want to try to limit your capacity. And I think that's an important thing, being really
Mm.
knowledgeable of how much capacity do I have for the types of relationships that I want. And I think that's been really helpful in me trying to communicate what are my wants and needs. And I'm like, okay, well, if my needs are for quality time, there's only one Jarissa. And so as I'm, adding more partners, that will impact my quality time. And so just being mindful of that. And I don't know, I can't really speak for every person who's polyamory, but it has felt very liberating. And people who know me know of those relationships. I tend to keep them a bit private because
Mhm.
my partners aren't really into like being in the spotlight. But they're amazing people, so I appreciate them.
I love. All I hear in my head is freedom, freedom. I can't breathe. I'm sorry. Bill,
I
what
mean,
about you? You got any benefits that stand out to you?
I would have to agree with Jarissa. Like, really, the freedom and like kind of like coming in, being like honest and authentic about like the way that I feel, and being able to. I think is it like it requires you to kind of really just be so honest and to be like, oh, I could tell this person that I'm having like these other feelings and I won't be judged for them. I can,
Mhm.
be honest about who I am and like kind of really do. It doesn't mean that I don't have boundaries, but it just means that I am, really, not cutting off a piece of myself. That's what it feels like. The freedom is really beautiful. And then, the other part that I love about polyamory is the practice and the act of compersion. And compersion is one of my favorite words. That, like, a
Well,
lot
teach
of
us.
people in the polyamory world, it is boundary compersion means, or, it's the feeling that another person experiences by seeing their partner be happy and be, full of themselves. So it's like, my compersion for my partner may be like, hey, you went and had a great date and you really enjoyed it and you're really excited about this other person. I'm happy for you. It makes me like, excited that you like went and had this beautiful experience with this new person. And I know it doesn't affect anything that we have, but I can be happy to see you happy. I be happy to see you joyful. And, there's no kind of like jealousy, or, not saying that jealousy doesn't happen, but, that compersion, that feeling, that beautiful feeling of seeing someone else happy, without you, and just,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's, to me, that's true love. Like, that's just
Mm.
like a pure form of love. That I could, be happy for you, with something that doesn't involve me at all. So
Real quick, we have sorry, we did have one question in the chat, and then we'll end it. But we had someone ask. I'm sorry, I just lost it. Oh my god, no. Okay,
I, you see,
from yeah,
from Cynthia.
okay. She said, so are the people you involve in your relationship? Do they ever want more, or is there an understanding beforehand? I'm not sure what you mean by more, but did y'all interpret that question?
I think, but I understand what you're saying. So, like, if and I don't know, like, Jarissa, do you want to go for this one, or
Sure, I can try. I can make an attempt for that one. I think it really just depends on what more means.
yeah, yeah,
If we're thinking in terms of like heteronormative relationships, I think something that comes to mind is like marriage or kids, things of that nature. And again, it's kind of dependent on, what your boundaries are, what your own personal goals are. And I think a strategy that's been helpful for me in navigating relationships is always doing a check-in. It really just kind of depends on how often, like the frequency of it. But I typically do like a check-in once a quarter and say like, hey, like, how are we feeling about this relationship? Are we happy? Are there some things that I could work on as a partner? Or are you feeling fulfilled? Like, what does fulfillment look like to you in this moment? Like, are we feeling connected? And if so, like, what does intimacy look like for you? Because what intimacy might be for me may be very different from somebody else. And so I could be in a situation where I'm feeling very connected, but if my partner isn't feeling connected, I need to be open and, being intentional about setting up conversations to make sure everyone's needs are met, not just my own.
And I'll respond to that also. So I think sometimes, a lot of times when you enter into relationships, you try to set goals or expectations and say like, hey, I'm just looking for, a good time or someone that I can go to the museum with and all this stuff. And, maybe we could, kick it every now and we could, play video games together and stuff. And then maybe after a while, you've been doing this for a year or two, with this person, the person comes back and say like, hey, I know I said that I was only cool with playing video games with you, but I actually would like to cohabitate with you. I'm like,
Mm,
that's not really like I have my nesting partner over
Yeah.
here, and like I can't go there with you. Um,
mm,
and that is sometimes people the boundaries move. You may have had a boundary in place and then move, and just like Jarissa was saying, like doing those check-ins to kind of see where the people are. And sometimes that happens, and when that happens, you're just like, hey, you know, maybe this doesn't work for us anymore, and I'm okay with sometimes those relationships have to end. And I think there's a way to do that in peace and to respect someone and say like if you need more, you need something that I can't give you. Either you could try to seek that through someone else, and I'm okay with you seeking that through someone else. Or if you can't, if you want this specifically from me and I can't give it to you, then maybe we have to end this engagement. And I know for me as a practice, any type of relationship, any type of endeavor, whether it's job or romantic relationship, even like friendships, any type of ship, I am in it for the moment where it still makes sense for all of us.
mm-hmm.
If we're not happy, all of us together in the situation, if it's not making sense for us, because people's goals, our needs change. You know, some days I may be okay, I may be okay with just eating ramen noodles and chicken for, 2 years. Then I move to a plant-based diet and I'm like, baby, I can't eat this anymore. And this all you get. I got to go somewhere else. It's okay. You know, you just change. You change. And I think it's, for me, we have to respect people's boundaries, respect people change. People have other needs that we can't meet. And it's okay.
Well, listen, y'all, we went over a few minutes, but this was a good conversation. We can keep going on, but I'm sure we're gonna have a part two or something about this somewhere down the line. But listen, one of my takeaways that I'll say that I learned today was that number one, it seems like people who are whether monogamous or poly, there are a lot of similarities in them. So there are more similarities, and I think there are differences. And I think if we just learn more and understand that we're all the same, we just all want love and love in the way that we want love, then we'll be able to respect other people. And the other thing, my takeaway is y'all actually have made me less mad at some of my exes because maybe they really just should have been poly and they just didn't have the knowledge and wisdom to be poly instead of cheating on me. But it's okay, so I can forgive them, and I'm gonna just send them this live and tell them to consider being poly if they haven't decided so already. Jarissa,
Can I say one thing though?
yeah, go ahead. You got
Poly does
the
not
final
promote
thought.
infidelity. Like infidelity can still happen in a polyamorous relationship. It's when the
Definitely.
deceit and not being honest creeps in. So I do want to put that out there because I feel like some people
Yeah.
have this misconception of like, oh well, let me be poly and still be not communicate what it is I'm trying to do, but I can engage with all these different people and not be considerate of how people feel. Like no, that is not polyamory.
I got you. But
There's still boundaries.
I will give y'all credit that it feels like there's still more conversation and communication that happens on that side that I actually kind of respect. And so Listen, y'all, we got to cut this off because the people who are watching the Democratic National Convention, I think the president about to speak, and so we want the people to make sure they go vote and learn what they need to learn. But Jarissa, thank you so much for joining us. This has been actually a really great conversation. I appreciate you taking time out your day. Jerry, thank you also for sharing your wisdom. Listen, y'all share this live and let people know to come on in. We here every Monday. Okay, this is a holiday or something, but we here every Monday at 6:30. Y'all share it if you enjoyed it. Let us know. And listen, we'll see y'all next week.
Bye.